Okay, so what I did notice was there was a rubber boot that goes along the shift rod. Um, I'm not too sure what that purpose of that rubber boot is. It's a steel rod, maybe to go into the shift linkage itself, just to keep some dirt and debris from going in there. But the I just removed that rubber boot back, and it gave me plenty enough access for that filter to come out of there without any problem at all. So I should have thought of that in the first place. But hey, first time doing it, live and learn, right? So the filter itself. The integrity of the filter looks fantastic. There's no signs of any damage or any filings or anything else inside or on the outside of the filter, which is a great thing. Looking inside the filter, still looks great. So I'm very happy with that. I'm going to go in there and clean around that housing. I'm going to put that filter in the bag with the other dirty rags, so I have something to contain all the oil and everything into. And I'm going to go in there with a couple a couple of different rags and clean that housing and make sure that there's no debris or anything else in there. And that looks fantastic. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm just going to go in there and wipe that down. I'm going to put a drop cloth underneath where this rag is, or where the drain pan is, only because I'm going to need a little bit more access to get in there and clean up around there. So I'm going to remove this oil pan, this drain pan, put a shop rag underneath there, so anything that is leaking, and it still is leaking a little bit, that will collect it. And because I don't want to step in this, I'm going to remove this right out of the way. And that way I'm not stepping in it accidentally. So I'm just going to go in there and clean around this housing. And I can tell there's no burrs, there's no debris, nothing whatsoever. Everything looks great. Even with the drain plug housing, I'm feeling around there. There's no burrs or anything like that. Nothing that shouldn't be in there. I'm going to clean inside the oil filter housing. I just like doing that myself. Any contaminated oil, as much contaminated oil as you can get out of the engine, obviously the better. And then the little channel where the O-ring sits, I'm going to make sure I get inside there and clean that, and that itself looks fantastic as well. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. Everything looks super clean. Oh yeah, that looks fantastic. I'm very happy with that. And again, I'm just going to put that there. I've replaced the crankcase drain plug with that new thrust washer. I'm going to, just going to put this in hand tight until I find out the torque value. And then once I find out what the torque value is, I will get my torque wrench and get in there and torque that up to manufacturer's suggested specs. So that is just pretty much hand tight right now. That's just to prevent any more leaks. It's a little bit on the lift, but I'm just going to wipe that up. We're going to be going through a lot more rags before the end of this anyway, so I'm just going to put that down there just in case. Put this in the bag so that the filter doesn't pop out of there. I'm going to clean off the crankcase filter housing and install the new O-ring. Yeah, looking at the housing there, it's got some oil and some debris stuck to it, obviously. Likely the last person to service it had the oil on there and didn't wipe it down, just threw the new O-ring on there if they did that at all, and stuck the housing back on. But I don't like doing that. I like making sure everything is clean and tidy. So I'm going to make sure the inside of that housing is completely clean and there's no issues. The outside of the housing is completely cleaned as well. That looks great. And then we're going to remove the old ring, the old O-ring again with my pick. And again, just going to go in there underneath the O-ring and then just pry it up and then peel it off. Just as easy as that. And then we're going to put the old O-ring beside the transmission housing O-ring and then just clean around this. Now, what I do notice is that there's no channel on this one, like there was a recess in the transmission housing. So this is a looks like a flush mount. So that I will make sure, I will ensure that that is seated properly, and again compressed according to manufacturer's suggested specs, and that way you get some peace of mind that it's going to be leak proof, or we hope anyway. So, going to get a little dab of grease again. Just going to go on around the outside just to give that a little bit of a bite for the O-ring. Not too much, just enough for it to seal and not move. So maybe a little too much, but we're going to wipe that off when it's all installed anyway. And then the new O-ring that comes with the filter housing, or with the kit, we're just going to simply put that around the outside and seat that properly. We don't want it to roll because we don't want it to twist. I'll make sure that it goes on there just like that. And again, have it nicely seated. Have it seated in there just nicely. That looks great. That is on there just like new. Almost. A little dirtier, but hey. Now we're going to reinstall the new filter, and again, same orientation as it came out. We're going to make sure that this is gone on the inside, and that is seated along the inside channel. So you'll feel that as you install that. So we're going to make sure that that is the case. So we're going to just move that shift rod out of the way and just rotate that on there so that you can feel it just bite on there, and that is situated perfectly. So we're going to put this housing back on, and we're going to make sure that when we do put this housing on, everything's going to be tightened evenly so that nothing is bit down or one side is tighter than the other, preventing a leak. So we're going to make sure that that sits in there nicely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lubricate that a little bit, so I make sure that that is sitting flush deep inside there. So I'm going to just lubricate the inside lip of this O-ring, or this filter, so that it gets recessed in there properly. And I'll make sure it sits in there nice and flush. It's in there nice and tight. That's going to sit in there nice. With the long socket, we're going to make sure that this goes in there nicely. Start off with the top again, because that was on the right side. And then we'll go to the bottom. And we'll do the left side. And we'll go evenly, both top and bottom, so it sits in there and seats in there very nicely. And then we'll do a visual inspection to make sure it looks like it's been seated in there properly. And we're just going to make sure it's hand tight before we do the torque values for the drain plug, as well as the filter housing. So one last wipe down just to make sure that it doesn't look like anything is leaking, everything is dry. And then we'll do a final inspection before we do all the torquing. Now it looks like it's in there and seated properly. As well as this thrust washer on both drain plugs. Filter housings look like they're installed properly. And that's great. I'm comfortable with that, and I'm just going to torque both now.